Hi there, happy hump day and welcome to Wednesday. Now, when you were waking up this morning, it's highly unlikely that you woke up and thought, my goal today is to make a really bad decision. Of course you didn't think that. That's illogical. And yet, as the field of behavioural economics shows, as humans, we're pretty good at making bad decisions. We make decisions on hunches, assumptions, expectations. We use heuristics or mental shortcuts to get to a decision. That's because your brain wants to make the decision as quickly as it possibly can. There's a whole raft of different factors that impact how we make decisions. One of those is time of day. So think about it for a minute. If you were asked to make a decision, a complex decision, so not something about whether you're going to drink coffee or have lunch, but a complex decision, do you think you'd make a better decision earlier in the day or later in the day? Now, like many things in life, researchers have looked at this, and what they found was that if you are making a more complex decision, you're more likely to think through that decision when you're fresh, when you're rested, also when you've eaten. Yet when it's later in the day, when you're more tired, you're more likely to fall into what we call default thinking. So default thinking is just thinking the way that you've always thought. So think of your brain and the conscious thinking part of the brain like a battery. When you go to sleep at night, that battery is usually quite depleted. You sleep, you wake up in the morning, hopefully that battery is full. Then every time you make a more conscious, deliberate decision, one that requires the prefrontal cortex, you're using up part of the energy in that battery. So when you get to the end of the day, the battery is more or less depleted. When the battery's depleted, that's when you fall into, I'm just going to decide the way I've always decided. I'm going to take that path of least resistance. Now, that doesn't by default mean that you will always make a bad decision when you're in default mode. But when you're trying to make a decision on something that you haven't done before, when you're trying to work through something that is complex and more challenging, when you really need to open yourself up to different ideas and different ways of seeing things, you don't want to rely on those default thinking modes. You need to be in a more expansive frame of mind. And that's why thinking about time of day matters. That whole concept of sleeping on it really works. You can be working on something and you get to the end of the day and you can't quite nut it out. Go to sleep overnight, your subconscious is processing things. You'll wake up in the morning and you'll have different ideas, new ideas. You'll be able to better problem solve. You'll be able to better see the issue through multiple lenses. So sleeping on it matters. Having people around you who are going to challenge you, ask questions, play different roles in the decision-making process. All of that matters. As well as preparing your mind to be ready for it. Researchers at INSEAD and Wharton did some really interesting research looking at the impact of decision-making and meditation. And they found that just doing a 15-minute breathing meditation before people walked into a decision-making process could help remove bias from the decision-making process. So the question for you is, when you're needing to make decisions, are you making sure that you're in the best frame of mind, the most rested, so that you're the most ready to make the best decision that you can? And we all know you don't progress if you don't make decisions. Take care, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week.